I'm at Seco Tools in Ulster and I'm at the Automotive Supply Chain event. Here today we're going to talk to several speakers and listen to what they've got to say about reshoring manufacturing back to the UK.
MTDCNC, bringing you the latest engineering news via video media.
Julia, thanks for the invitation today to the event. It's been very well attended. What do you think the reasons are for that?
I think the strength of the automotive industry has made all the difference, and I think companies are wanting to hear that confidence coming out from our industry leaders. You know, Jaguar is
It's a fantastic British name.
It is, definitely. And what they've done since 2008, taken the UK economy so much further. And I think that, we've got some marvellous automotive companies in the UK, and we've got to treasure them and look after them. So that's why GTMA is very much looking at the supply chain, how we can assist them find the engineering skills that through our reshoring initiative with 9 other trade associations, which I have to say is a unique collaboration and, a getting together. And we see that as going forward, linking in with the catapult centres who've got the technology and should be disseminating that information out to the engineering community.
You got a good mix of speakers as well. What made you choose who you had to talk?
Mainly because I've seen them, we're working with them, Jaguar we're working with, and also, Andy on the IP situation, we're always making companies aware of that. Very important to, cover their and protect their copyright.
And everyone's interested in finance and the economy, so David on that was good to listen to.
Yes, very, very interesting. I'm particularly interested in that, and I hope that the automotive industry supply chain will take up what he is saying about developing and securing the automation that's required to get productivity up so that they can actually supply Jaguar Land Rover, because cost down is always going to be an issue. We've got to accept that, but we can achieve it if we look at investment.
Now, is UK reshoring, this hasn't come about just as a result of Brexit, has it?
No, it hasn't, but I see it stronger together. We can look at going further afield. I myself have been over to Ireland, and we've got one of the longest treaties with Ireland and the UK. So here's an opportunity to link in with them. We've also got the Brazil Business Hub, which was set up by UK Trade and Investment, and we've got at our Brexit meeting in October the new Department of International Trade coming over. So what we want to do is establish those links and show the UK how they can get into other markets and give them that support.
Not a bad place to have the event either here, is it, at Seco?
Oh, Seco is marvellous. We've, raised our own profile, and the opportunities that we have within the GTMA website is that we can actually tell our members, give them daily alerts as to who has visited their company. And I'm talking about, we have over 3,000 manufacturing companies we know come to the GTMA website. How strong is that? And how many companies know who is visiting them? So, we've got a bright future.
Digital marketing is definitely the future.
Absolutely, yes. Social media, everything like that. Tweeting out. We do that on a daily basis as well.
So do we. Good stuff. Thanks, Julia.
Thank you.
Third of the year for our fiscal year. Continuing that double-digit
Mike, JLR, what a UK success story. What have you been trying to get across today at this event?
Well, we're in a new era, as I see it at the moment. It's a new era of new technologies, and it's a new area of the political system that we're in as well. And what I'm really trying to get across today at this event is really confidence. Jaguar Land Rover is confident in our future. We've invested over the last 10 years billions of pounds. The last 5 years, 10 billion in the UK alone. And that investment's continuing into the UK. We're investing in our research and development centres at Whitley, at Gaydon, and our engine manufacturing centre at Wolverhampton, as well as keeping the production at the current high level that we've got and improving the levels of production at Solihull, Castle Bromwich and Halewood.
So tell me about your supply chain. I mean, how many tier 1 suppliers would you have?
At the tier 1 level, there are precisely, because I've just counted them, 655, of which many of them have a UK base.
And is that growing?
The UK base, I would say, is growing at a steady rate. If I take average production level for all our vehicles, if you measured that as of last year, it was 50%. Then you look at the new vehicles that are coming out, such as the F-Pace, the Jaguar XE, and some that I can't mention because they're not in the public eye yet, that's grown to 55%. So it's a measurable growth for UK sourcing, and which is fantastic news for the UK supply chain in the automotive sector, because it means they're competing well, they're doing the right things to win the business.
And how do you get into that supply chain, Mike?
It's not easy, you've got to do the legwork. It's as simple as that. Some suppliers start off at a very low level, perhaps supplying into prototyping, talking to our engineers, talking to people like myself, making contacts, or they may go into specialised vehicles, our SVO division, and they'll build their businesses up. We're always looking for new ideas, we're always looking for new innovation, and it's fantastic to see when a supplier comes to us and they say, I know your current source of supply, which means they've done their homework, but I've got this, and it's cheaper and it performs better. That's like music to my ears, because I know there's going to be a supply chain relationship that's going to build up that supply. It's not often as the first tier commercial relationship. It might be a case of me introducing them to our engineers and introducing them to our tier 1s, where that supply will follow through. And there's nothing that makes me happier, probably not the greenest thing to say, as seeing new factories going up in the United Kingdom. And that's my bread and butter. That's what I do for a living. It's trying to convince, whether it's from foreign direct investment or domestic growth, new factories, new capacity, new R&D facilities in the United Kingdom, of which we've had many examples, over £1 billion invested. I've currently got a portfolio of £250 million of investments coming into the UK yet to be delivered.
And you've grown year on year since 2008. Is that going to continue?
It's definitely going to continue. Obviously, I can't tell the future. I'm not a soothsayer. But if we're putting down the investment, which I can guarantee is continuing, so the investment's continuing at a level of about £3 billion a year. We'd actually like to spend more than that and grow it to £4 billion a year, but there's only so much that we can do. And we'll certainly strive to continue to grow that. And as any shareholder, they want to return from their investment, and that means growth, that means more jobs, and that's good news for the UK.
David, Lloyds have pledged £1 billion a year to UK manufacturing. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So our strategy is to help Britain prosper. And in our Helping Britain Prosper plan, we have a series of measures that will help both the businesses, the communities and the people of the UK face into some of the biggest issues that they tell us about. One of those issues was access to finance a number of years ago, and as we set up a specialist team in order to support UK manufacturing, we wanted to make a clear pledge of our intent to provide that sector with the finance that it needed in order to support its growth. So we pledged no less than £1 billion of new lending every year into the sector. I'm delighted to say that for the first 2 years we've overachieved that pledge, and so far in 2016 we're on track to deliver it again for a third year, and we've already made the commitment as part of our Helping Britain Prosper plan to make that pledge again with a further £1 billion of new lending available in 2017.
And if I was if I was an SME, would this apply to me as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly where the hub of our support to UK industry starts. I mean, whether you talk to the smallest SME or whether you talk to some of the biggest tier one suppliers in UK industry, they can benefit from the financial support available through this pledge.
And it's not just a financial pledge as well. You've also just opened up a new training facility, I believe.
Yeah, this was an opportunity again to address and help support one of the major issues that the manufacturers told us they faced into, and that was the shortage of skills. So at the Manufacturing Technology Centre in Coventry, which is one of the high value manufacturing catapults, we pledged a £5 million sponsorship over 5 years to support around 500 new apprentices out into industry over the next 5 years. And that opened in November last year. And in September this year, we have our first 36 apprentices going out into local businesses, having been put through their first 2 years training, funded and supported by our sponsorship.
Asif, what's your message today? What's been your message today during your presentation?
I think there's kind of several themes of the presentation, but the underlying message is that for British design and manufacturing companies, we're all obsessed with how they can squeeze greater productivity out of their business and reinvest that into innovation. It's not actually as difficult as we might think. There are many, many simple things that companies can do to enhance their productivity and innovation. And kind of my simple message is, get on with it.
Now, you mentioned a few points during your presentation. Competitive separation. I mean, give me a bit of a flavour of what that actually means.
Okay, so the example in the presentation I used was comparing the Kodak ViewMaster with something like the Microsoft HoloLens. And if you put those products side by side, you've got such a gap in terms of the design, the manufacturing processes, the technology that's used in them. If you compare them as sort of comparative products in the market, everybody would of course go for the HoloLens because it's not just slightly better, it's hugely better. And that's what we mean by competitive separation. You get enough of an advantage over anyone else in terms of what you design, what you make, how you make it, that you carve out a section of the market in the industry which you are then uniquely placed to serve by disrupting it in a positive way.
Well, that's another word I was going to come on to. It's a very popular buzzword at the moment, the word disruption. What does that mean to you and what you're talking about in your presentation?
So it's always two sides to the same coin. So disruption, I think people's natural reaction to it is a negative. And of course, if you trace back through industry and history, disruption has always been around. It will never stop, it'll never go away. And I think from a mindset perspective, the way we look at disruption is a positive opportunity to say that the status quo is being shaken up, and perhaps the barriers to entry into markets and new design disciplines or manufacturing disciplines are changing, and it gives you an opportunity to enter those markets and be a real player. So I kind of view disruption as a positive change in the circumstances of a market that could create greater value and opportunity out there.
And it all sounds very good, but when we look at stuff like this, taking it into practical reality, when you look at how you could maybe take a company that's doing things in a certain way, take them from selling a product to a service, is what you've been saying. Is it something that, well, it is reality?
Yeah, so I think if the expectation is to go overnight from selling a Lego block to a connected Lego block, just as a random example, then of course you're going to be disappointed. The process we take companies through is we offer them a kind of a discovery meeting. And we really just ask three questions. Where are you today? Where do you want to be? And what's stopping you getting there? And through kind of a journey, we look at the most important priorities, and that is to, first of all, fix their current broken processes and systems that don't communicate very well with each other. And they're responsible for a lot of wastage. So the model I use in my presentation is from a concept to design, to manufacture, to sell and operate and retire. If you just look at that one process alone, fixing the issues with that process can result in huge productivity gains for a company. And that's usually the first step that we take with anybody. Following on from that, based on where their business plan is and their company strategy wants to take them.
Training in the youth of today, that's a big thing for you guys as well, isn't it?
It's something that we take very seriously. Certainly as Jaguar Land Rover, we have something like 300,000 young people come through our doors in the last 5 years. That's an amazing amount of people. It's tours in the factories, it's getting out into the schools as well and doing presentations there, getting people excited about manufacturing. And the way we do it, we actually use our brand. We use the Jaguar Land Rover brand to actually advertise the jobs available in our supply chain, which don't have those strong brands that people recognise. But if you say they're making a component for Jaguar and Land Rover, then all of a sudden the young people are interested. We get thousands and thousands of applications for a few hundred jobs, a few hundred opportunities at JLR for young people. Obviously, not everyone can be successful, but it's about the message. It's not just Jaguar Land Rover. There's a whole supply chain, which is in the region of about 3 to 4 times the employment that Jaguar Land Rover has at its sites out there, and they've got opportunities. And I do actively encourage all our suppliers to run apprenticeship programs, to run graduate programs, and they're doing it. I can actually visit a supplier today, the same one that I visited 5 years ago, and I can see the change in demographic that's happened, and that's joy for myself as well.
And what about Brexit? How's that going to affect things?
I don't think it's going to affect things at all. It's caused a level of uncertainty. Naturally, we've seen stock markets go down, we've seen exchange rates go down, but we've seen manufacturing jump back in the UK generally. There are some hidden benefits with exchange rates. It's actually cheaper to export products out of the UK at the moment, and we are a massive exporter. So it's business as usual. We haven't changed our business plan. Our business plan has been set down quite a few years ago. We're on track, we're delivering it, and we're moving forward.
And if you had to summarise the key, or one or two of the keys to the success of the JLR brand, what would you say?
Investment, investment, investment. It's investment in research and development for the products of the future. It's investment in capacity to get the customers what they want. And it's investment in the people so they can feed that capacity and that research and development work. You've got to invest to be a success. You can't, if you're not investing, you'll be moving backwards, not standing still.
And what about Brexit, David? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we were very clear. At the end of the day, that was a matter for the UK electorate. The decision was made to vote to leave, but our strategy and our support to the UK economy remains unaltered. We made that statement on the 24th of June. We're consistent and persistent with our support to UK businesses. We're a through-the-cycle lender, and we've made no changes. We're aware of the uncertainty and the challenges that will create, but we're here to support businesses.
And how have you found things since the vote?
Mixed, actually. I think the immediate knee-jerk reaction was fear and fear of the unknown and the unexpected. But I have to say, and I think this is reflected in the latest Purchasing Managers Index report, the PMI report that comes out, where we've seen one of the most biggest and the positive sort of rebound in the future outlook of our manufacturers, where it's now stronger than the long-term average. And I think a lot of manufacturers are taking advantage of opportunities such as the weakened pound and searching out new opportunities in overseas markets, and we're seeing some really, really fantastic stories emerging. So once again, British manufacturing proves its agility and persistency to be successful regardless of what the economists throw at it.